Thank you so much for welcoming me here today. It's such a pleasure to be here in Ireland representing Students for Life and to just talk to you about my passion for the pro-life mission and for Students for Life of America. My name is Jordan Brittain, and I've been working for Students for Life for almost 3 years now as their Pacific Southwest Regional Coordinator. So I've done our boots on the ground activism in Utah, Hawaii, Arizona, Nevada, and California, but I will soon be moving to Western Regional Manager and overseeing our initiatives and student groups in the 13 Western states. I'm very excited for this new challenge and to be expanding outreach and engagement with my team to build up the pro-life generation, which is our mission as Students for Life, to help young people to be leaders in the pro-life mission. I grew up in Arizona. I'm from a big Catholic family, the second of 11 children, and my twin brother and I were actually conceived only 3 months after the birth of our older sister, Liberty. We were also born prematurely and suffered from cerebral palsy. And when we were conceived, my parents had been recently married and were still students at Northern Arizona University. So we were in every way considered definitely what you would call an unwanted pregnancy in the circumstances of our birth, my parents being in school and having 3 children soon to be under the age of 1. And in society today, we are often told that women and families in the situation need abortion, right? 75% of Planned Parenthoods in America are strategically placed near 5 miles within a college campus in America because they know that women in those unplanned pregnancies, in those situations, are going to be feeling pressured and vulnerable. And they sell the lie that the smart option there is abortion, that women can't have children in school and still pursue their dreams, still finish their career. And we know that to be a lie, but it is sadly a lie that a lot of people believe. And I'm just so grateful to my own parents for not giving into that lie. My brother and I and all my siblings are here today because of their yes to life. But the year that I was born was actually the year of the most abortions in American history. 1.4 million babies died to abortion in that year. And I feel so blessed to be able to be here to speak to you today, but I acknowledge the fact that I could have been that statistic. I could have just been another one of those babies that was not given that beautiful right to life. And so it's a blessing to be able to be here, but it's also very, very humbling for me to know that the only difference between me and my twin brother and those babies that don't get to be here today is just that my parents saw me as a gift in a human life, and those babies, their parents saw them as a mistake. And so I work so hard to help people to see that every life has a purpose, that no life is a mistake, every life is a gift from God. And my parents are a walking contradiction to this belief that you have to choose between your education and your children, your career and your children. Like I said, they were students, they got married, and they had 4 kids. My dad went on to get a master's degree with being that student, and then he decided to go on for a second undergrad with 4 kids. And they had 2 more children while he was in school at Thomas Aquinas College. My mom worked full-time to put him through school, and he studied during the day and worked the night shift. And I think that's even more, to get himself through, and that's even more of a testament to the fact that children are not a hindrance to our dreams. They're often what motivates us to accomplish things we never thought possible. They are the reason that we can pursue our dreams because they give us that motivation and that determination. And my mother is now also a successful CEO, so she proves every day that women do not have to choose between a career and a family. Like I said, she has 11 children and now 18 grandbabies, but she is working full-time, and she proves too that not only is she able to be successful in her career, but that motherhood is itself a success and is itself a dream come true. And if she had to choose between her career and her children, she would choose us every single time. And we hear a lot in society that men can't have a position on abortion, that it's a woman's issue, but really abortion is a moral issue. And every child has both a mother and a father, so men should feel empowered to speak up. And statistics show that 90% of women only chose abortion because they didn't have someone in their life telling them they had another option. And I truly believe that's why the abortion industry is telling men to be silent, because they know if a man stands with the mother of his child, if a brother stands with his sister, if a father stands with his daughter, she will choose life 9 times out of 10. And we will abolish abortion if we have those voices willing to stand up. So I'm so grateful that my father was willing to support my mother in those difficult times and through every pregnancy. She went on to have 9 consecutive C-sections. And 11 children under the age of 40, by the age of 40. And so she is a walking testament to the fact that if you trust in God and you trust that his plans are greater than your own, he is going to give back to you, and he's never outdone in generosity. And so it's no wonder from my family background and my upbringing that I've always been pro-life. But I was not always active in the pro-life movement, and that's why I feel so grateful to Students for Life for educating young people on this issue, to let them know that even as early as middle school, high school, college, they can be a voice for life for their peers. It wasn't until I started college that I became active. I went to Thomas Aquinas College like my dad and like all of my siblings now, and I was able to go to the Walk for Life in San Francisco every year of college, and I learned from my peers the power of protesting on the sidewalk, prayerful protest, and being a voice for women on the sidewalk on your campus. And that's really where I discovered my vocation to be a voice for life. And one particular story I'd like to share is I got really involved on the sidewalk, basically wherever I was living after college. I remember one day, I moved to Anchorage after graduating, and I remember one day, my first time on the sidewalk in Anchorage, it was freezing cold, and I was pacing up and down with my rosary and just thinking, I'm probably going to get frostbite here, but just offering it up for the unborn and knowing that my prayers, I knew that God would help those babies in that day from my prayers, and I also just offered it up for every baby that would die that day at Planned Parenthood. And when I moved back to Phoenix, I started becoming more involved on the sidewalk there, and a pregnancy center opened up at the Planned Parenthood near my house, and when they did, more and more women started seeing abortion isn't my only option. There are people available to help me who want to help me, and when the abortion industry says you can't, pregnancy resource centers and loving pro-lifers are there to say that you can. And after they opened up, we saw more and more women going into their doors. And I remember in 2017, I was sitting on a flight to my first flight to Ireland, and I got a message that that facility had officially closed down. And so I saw with my own eyes the power of prayer and the power of consistency and just being there and knowing that if you put in the work, God is going to help your work be fruitful. And I felt in that moment when that plane was about to take off that I could die happy in that moment, that my vocation was to do this and that I had seen the fruits. And so sidewalk advocacy really did change my life and help me realize my purpose to be a mother to the unborn, to be a mother to women in crisis, and to help them to embrace their motherhood and know all of their capabilities as a mom, but also in pursuing whatever else they wanted to do. And the more I went to the sidewalk and brought people with me, the more I just realized this isn't just a hobby that I do when I'm not working. It's something I really wanted to devote my whole life to. And I didn't really know how that was going to happen. And I didn't even know about Students for Life at the time. And the way that I was brought to them is also so providential and so surprising and unexpected that I've never doubted for a second that this is where I'm supposed to be. And so I'm so grateful to Students for Life for helping me to find my vocation. They're a remarkable organization that's truly leading the way in abolishing abortion in America. In Ireland, abortion was made legal in 2019, but abortion's been legal in America for the last 50 years. Roe versus Wade was passed in 1973, and we heard for the longest time that it was never going to be overturned, that our efforts were fruitless, and that we were, it didn't matter how much you tried, America's never going to overturn Roe versus Wade. But we know that that did, by the grace of God, happen. And that's because of people like our president, Kristen Hawkins, who has always been very clear and unapologetic that our goal is to overturn Roe versus Wade and to ultimately make abortion unthinkable. This isn't just about winning an argument. This is about changing hearts and minds, changing a culture, to helping us see that abortion is the greatest injustice of our time, and that when we see that truth, when we know that, it's our obligation to rally together and to fight against that with everything that we have, because just because something is legal doesn't make it right? And so our strategy was always to recruit, train, and mobilize pro-life students on their campuses to be leaders in our 5 pillars of activism. We have a whole side of Students for Life, which is our C3, but we also have a Students for Life action side of C4, and we get involved at a legislative level. We go door to door to talk to people about their pro-life candidates. We have a new campaign called the Campaign for Abortion-Free Cities, where we go door to door in neighborhoods to tell people about their local pro-life resources and how the dangers of abortion and what Planned Parenthood is doing and how they have other options and resources to say yes to life. And we engage in all facets across all 50 states by marketing those pro-life resources. Kristen saw that there was a huge lack in marketing. We know that the abortion industry has millions of dollars and puts millions of dollars into government funding and funding to market themselves. And so we saw, well, we need to market the pregnancy centers. So we started an online website called standingwithyou.org, and it's national, and they've been working on that platform for about 3 years now. And women can go online and type in their zip code and find any pregnancy resource center within their area. So that's a great, I don't know what the efforts are here in Ireland for that, but that's a great way to have a very unified platform for where people can go to know that they have other options besides abortion. And in all of these efforts, through all the work that we've done, we've grown since 2006 from an organization that had about 50 student groups spread out around the country to now 1,400 student groups in America and Puerto Rico. And it's a hope of mine to eventually be, working in Europe as well. Now that abortion is legal here, we can combine our efforts and work together through all of these online resources and help to really make a difference. And people did say that Roe was never going to be overturned, but now it's happened, and it's because of the efforts and prayers and relentless and tireless work of people like Kristen and people like you and me and organizations like Students for Life and the Pro-Life Campaign. When we have a goal and a vision and we know what we're striving for and we work through it relentlessly, we really will affect change in our world. And just as people said, we'll never overturn it, well, now we did. And now the goal is to make it unthinkable, right? And you can do that here in Ireland as well. And there's so many ways to do that. So I'm just so grateful to everyone who's joined in the fight to abolish abortion and to raise awareness of the dignity and value and beauty of every human life. And while I'm saddened that more and more countries are legalizing abortion, I want you to be encouraged that this is not the end. This is only the beginning, and we have a road ahead of us. But with our efforts, with joining our efforts in this fight, it's not going to be in vain, right? If we work together and we use our own unique time and talent and treasure in the fight for life and recognize, how different organizations can lean on each other and network and grow this movement, we will see a day when our world is unified in the belief and understanding that abortion isn't healthcare, that idea is a lie, that health looks to help women and also both women born and preborn, and looks to the fact that not only is abortion killing little babies in the womb, but it's also leaving women very scarred and very lost, right? It's physically and emotionally daunting to them. And it's also taking away their greatest gift of motherhood. So we just need to keep being a voice in that and recognize that abortion is the #1 cause of death in our world. People don't even know that because it's not even considered death, because the baby is not even considered a person. But it is the #1 cause of death in our world and the greatest human rights injustice of our time. So have courage and confidence in knowing the truth. Always speak to people with love and generosity in your heart, and know that when you come to them with compassion, they will be more likely to believe you and trust you. And it's just about planting those seeds and changing those hearts and minds, because as we change one heart, one mind, we save one life at a time, and we create a ripple effect that will have an effect throughout eternity and build up the kingdom. So thank you so much for this fight. I'll be around all day if you want to come talk to me and learn more about what we're doing at Students for Life to increase our efforts and abolish abortion. But thank you so much again for having me today, and it's just a really, really great pleasure to be here. God bless you.